Hello everyone, and here we have a new story. Before we get to that, I want to ask you to subscribe, like, and be sure to write comments in order to participate in the development of the community. Write how to improve my community, current topics and the stories you are interested in, and much more. I read and listen to all the comments. People write me stories by mail from different countries. There are problems with translation. I apologize for this. I will work on it and try to fix these errors. I want to thank everyone for their support and the people who wrote to me by mail, broadcast news stories. New videos on my channel are published once every 2 days at 7 p.m. Don't forget to put a bell in order not to miss new videos. And now let's go. Hello, I want to tell you my story. I am 25 years old. My wife is 22 years old. We have a son who is 1 year old. I'll start from the beginning. This story began 5 years ago. We met completely by chance. I came across my wife on social media. I made an appointment with her. When I saw her, I immediately fell in love. She was tall, slender, and beautiful. I immediately realized that such a chance should not be missed. Then, a lot of people took care of her. But the main prize went to me. I was over the moon with happiness. We talked for 2 years. Everything was just super. No one cheated on anyone. My parents liked her. I was her first man. As for sex, everything was great with us. In general, it was going to the wedding. But to strengthen our relationship, we got engaged for a year. This year has been just wonderful. 2 months before the wedding, I was offered a good job in another city. We make a decision together and move on. Anyway, one day my girlfriend calls me and asks for permission to go for a walk with a guy from social networks. I think, but as long as she doesn't have a ring on her finger, I'll let her go. I'm not a monster to keep her locked up. In any case, I thought, since she warned me, then there's nothing to worry about. Then I find out that my girlfriend took a rather romantic walk. For the sake of decency, I made a scandal. In general, everything is fine. Before the wedding, my family, unfortunately, has to return to my hometown. Because my father died and I was the only man in the family. Well, I think, okay, we should get married anyway. My dad really liked my girlfriend. A little time passed and we got married. As a result, I stay at home with my wife and mom. Anyone who has faced a similar situation will understand me. My father was a wise mentor and role model. I didn't communicate so closely with my mother. In general, we had constant conflicts. I was called back to work in another city. We left together with my wife. I also often have to visit my hometown. Mom misses me very much. My sister also lives in another city and very rarely visits her mother. I started working overtime because I wanted to earn money for my house. My wife didn't mind, but I worked like a horned deer. I asked my sister to find my wife a job so she wouldn't be bored at home. We went on vacation and decided to have a baby. I want to say that after the rest, we returned to our hometown. My pregnant wife began to treat me coldly. I thought maybe the baby was taking away her strength. As a result, I find out that my wife often communicates on social networks with this guy, with whom she went for a walk before the wedding. Well, at that time it seemed that there was no treason. Well, I trust my wife like a horned deer. I did not delve into this situation. After a while, a child was born. My personal life came in naught. In general, so that my wife does not get very tired, I take her to her mother so that her mother will help her. I am currently buying an apartment in my hometown. I'm taking a nice car for the family. In general, I take loans for everything and work hard again. In order to fulfill all my wife's dreams, my wife runs between mom and me. It seems that everyone is happy, but personal life has faded into the background. Only when she's in town and her mother is sitting with our child. We spend time together. This terrible day has come. I came to my hometown to pick up my wife. The next day, we had a romantic dinner planned. I'm taking her away from mom. I look at my wife, and it seems to me that she has been drinking alcohol all this time. Despite the fact that the baby is breastfed, my wife was drinking with her relatives. I was furious. I say I'll talk to her mother and ask her how she let this happen. How can she drink alcohol and feed the baby? In the evening, we arrived in the city where I worked. My wife tells me she can't hide it. She was drinking with this guy. I arranged a conflict and took offense at my wife. I think I can also have a drink with friends sometimes, as if nothing terrible has happened. Time passed and we reconciled. Our son's birthday is in a week. I walk in and watch my wife in the kitchen choosing a bike from an online store. She says, "My love, let's buy me the same one. I'm not watching a bike for amateurs." I'm starting to realize that my wife is far from an athlete. This guy was a cyclist. I'm starting to understand where the legs are growing from. I go to social networks. I came across a correspondence with this guy. What I saw shocked me. My wife drank with him until she lost her memory. This time my wife didn't spread her legs because she was afraid he was too drunk. As a result, this guy drove her home in a car while intoxicated. My wife, who is suicidal, does not think about the child at all. They wanted to have sex next time only when they were sober. In a rage, I grabbed my wife by the throat and pressed her against the wall. She admitted it with fear, that they were kissing and he was molesting her. But she insists they didn't have sex. I read the correspondence further. As it turned out, they had a lot of dates. While the child is with my wife's mother, she finds herself with him in a cafe or in an apartment. The most interesting thing is that a week before the conception of our child, she was sitting in this guy's house, smoking and drinking red wine, probably in order for the future child to be healthy. In general, I'm furious. I'm sending my wife to her mother. I myself want to be alone and think. She tells me that the baby is definitely from me. She was just bored while I was at work. She wanted adventure. My wife immediately deleted this correspondence. I won't know the truth about what happened there. I do not know what to do next. Can you advise me in the comments? I will definitely read it. It seems like there was no intimacy between them. We're still living together. We're doing well. But the thoughts of this do not leave me. That's the whole story. If you liked it, give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Now let's move on to the advice of the author of the channel. Channel author's advice. It is obvious that you have experienced a difficult and painful situation in your marriage. Issues of infidelity and trust can be incredibly difficult to sort out, especially when it comes to a child. Here's some tips for you. Think about couples counseling or therapy. A qualified psychotherapist can help you both communicate more effectively and solve trust problems that have arisen due to adultery. This is an important step if you want to try to save your relationship. Take some time to reflect on your own feelings. It's natural to feel hurt, angry, and betrayed, but it's important to think about what you really want for your future. Do you want to try to restore trust and work on your marriage? Or do you think it's better to break up? If you have any doubts about your child's paternity, it might be wise to consider taking a paternity test. This can bring clarity and ensure that all parties involved know the truth. If you decide to continue the relationship, it is extremely important to establish clear boundaries with your wife. Discuss what is acceptable behavior and what is not. Open and honest communication is the key to restoring trust. Remember that your child's well-being should be a top priority. Make sure they get the love and care they need, regardless of the outcome of your relationship. If you ultimately decide that divorce is the best option, consult with a lawyer to understand your rights and obligations. This is especially important if you have to solve the issues of joint property and custody of children. Take care of your own emotional and mental well-being during this difficult time. Seek support from friends and family and consider contacting a therapist yourself to deal with the emotional consequences of the situation. Healing and making decisions about the future will take time. Don't rush into any decisions. Take the time you need to think about everything and make the right choice for you and your child. Remember that every situation is unique, and the right course of action depends on your individual circumstances and what you think is best for you and your family. Do not hesitate to ask for professional help and support when you cope with this difficult situation. If you have watched to the end, I want to say thank you very much. I love you all. Thank you for joining me on this exciting journey of love, betrayal, and redemption. I appreciate your support and encourage you to subscribe, like, and share this story. Your participation and feedback are invaluable for shaping our content and promoting mutual understanding and community growth. Until we meet again.